Live. Your meeting is being live streamed. That's good news.
Yeah, got it.
Let's do a double check
Yeah.
since Zoom likes to take its time.
When I learned that you still have to click the go live button in the event.
Oh, well, you're more tech savvy than I am in that regard.
I didn't do that once and I was like, what?
Oh
What?
no. Okay, I see us. That's good
Okay,
news.
we're live.
Perfect. We are live. Hi everyone. I'm really happy you're here on this Thursday. Oftentimes I pop in on Fridays, but you get us early this week, so lucky you. We are, as you can see, joined by the amazing Audrey Shane, and this is going to be a really fun interview. If you haven't met Audrey yet, you're about to. And if you haven't been inspired by Audrey yet, you're about to be. Audrey's one of my favorite people to chat with when it comes to being private pay, growing a cool practice, building a life that, building a practice that fits your life and not the other way around. So that's really what today is all about. We do have a lot of new faces here in the group this week. So maybe you haven't even met me before. In that case, hi, I'm Anna. I get to hang out in this group. I'm also in charge of it. And it is my absolute pleasure to support clinicians like Audrey and like you to grow your private pay practice and to build something that you're proud of and that fits your life. And that's exactly what Audrey and I are talking about today. So Audrey, thanks for being here. Will you tell us a little bit about you if people have not met you yet?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in Northern California. I have a fully online private practice. I'm licensed in California and I say recently, it's been a year. I've been licensed in Texas as well.
Mm-hmm.
A few things about me personally. I am a law enforcement spouse. My husband is a police officer. I am a mother of twins. They just turned 4 years old. I know, time flies. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, Audrey, we're going to be diving into your journey to, you've currently been at a $350 session rate for a year. And I know that's a really compelling number and people sort of sometimes latch onto the number, but really the purpose of this conversation is to talk about what it looks like to grow a practice, to set a fee, to bring in clients that fulfill you and that fit your life and your lifestyle and your goals.
Exactly.
If you are joining us live, or even if you're catching the replay, quite frankly, I can always tag Audrey. We welcome your questions. We've gotten a couple questions about the way that Audrey works and how her practice is structured and things like that, which we're happy to address. But if you're watching it right now and you have a question about something we chat about, please drop that into the comments. We're happy to revisit those at the end of our conversation. So Audrey, tell me a little bit about your journey to this point. You started in agency life, right?
I did. So I had a little bit of private practice experience as an intern, as we were called, back when I was doing it. And that kind of, I think, laid the groundwork. I knew I always wanted to be in private practice. But, life happens, divorce happens, things happen. And I ended up in an agency. I needed to knock out my clinical hours to get my license really quickly. I actually landed in an agency that I loved. It was a great agency. The flexibility was fabulous. The pay was not, but it wasn't, it wasn't at the top of my priority list. I was making enough to be okay at the time. And I really, really enjoyed it. I was on track to become the assistant director of the clinical program and also a clinical supervisor. And those are both things that I was excited to do. I like wearing different hats. I enjoy the business side of things. I enjoy program director things. And so I was on track to do it. I was all on board for it. Then I got pregnant and we planned to, and so that was great. But then it was twins. And as much as I wanted to go back to my agency job, having twins and the reality of, I was fully committed to breastfeeding my twins full time if I could. And I think I knew that was going to be a lot of work. I didn't realize just how much work that was going to be. Yeah. I was also combating postpartum depression, postpartum rage, and some really significant struggles. And so going back to an agency where I was going to make about as much as I would be paying for childcare. Yeah, it is expensive for infant twins. When I was like, no, the bath doesn't work out, I'm working way too much, it just isn't going to work. Yeah. So I decided to leave the agency. I already had a couple of online clients. I had done BetterHelp back when it was like just very beginning. And I had a couple clients I had kept and pulled off the platform at the time. So I thought, yeah, I'm just going to lean into my private practice. My kids were about 9 months old when I officially launched,
Okay.
and welcomed in new clients. And I was doing it all the usual way. I had clients that were paying anywhere from 80 to 120 at first. And then I started like inching my fee up. So then it was like, let me see if I can get somebody at 130. Let me see if I can get somebody at 150.
Right. Yeah.
And so a year later, I had too many clients. I had a good marketing machine. Like I knew how to market. I had the benefit of many years of running other businesses, doing other small businesses myself. I'm kind of a serial entrepreneurial type. And so I was getting a lot of referrals. I was getting a lot of incoming traffic, and I couldn't book it. I couldn't take them. I was referring a lot of people out. So about a year later, I had a practice where people were paying anywhere from $80 to $185.
Wow.
Yeah. And my clients were sticking around a long time. And so I'm like, I thought that what you did is you inched your fee up and you waited for people to graduate and you brought in people at your new fee. And eventually you would get to everybody at your new fee and you would just keep going like that. Right.
Sure.
It wasn't happening. My people stay around. I'm like a 1 to 3 year therapist. And so people weren't leaving. And there was a point at which I was confronted with I was getting a lot of help with childcare. My parents were helping. We had a nanny that was like part-time, kind of in and out, not charging us a lot. We were really lucky. She moved. And this was like right as COVID was starting to lift a little bit and the childcare centers were starting to open up and things were starting to move again. Yeah. And I was suddenly faced with having to pay for full-time childcare for my toddler twins in Northern California. That's $3,000, just under $3,000 a month. Yeah.
Not to mention everything else that life, all the other expenses in life and that kind of thing.
Oh my gosh, right? On top of everything, right? So, the other piece of this is that my husband, in order to facilitate me being a mom first, he was working probably 50, 60 hours a week as a police officer, and he was in the reserves for the military. So he wasn't home very much. He was stressed out all the time. He wasn't well. Yeah. I've said this in other lives before, but the average age of first heart attack for police officers is 47. He's going to be 40 next year. So for me, there was this like imperative to do something different. Like I realized that my client's care was being subsidized by my husband's health. And that couldn't continue. And if I'm going to get real honest right now, our marriage was suffering. Like
understandably so, sure.
Yeah. Like, so law enforcement has a high divorce rate. Parents of multiples have a high divorce rate. Our son is neurodivergent. Parents of neurodivergent kids have a high divorce rate. Like the odds are stacked.
Odds are stacked. Yeah.
Stacked.
Yeah.
So I think everything kind of collided in a way where I was like, I have to do something and I can't keep doing what I've been doing. So I have to make some big changes.
Yeah. And it didn't mean you needed to do something different but that didn't mean leaving therapy. Like there was still a way to do the work you love to do. Like, it wasn't like, well, I guess I have to get a new career. It's like, how do I make this work for what I needed to do in my life?
Absolutely. So I did some math based on the caseload that I wanted to have, and I came up with the number of 200. And so over the course of several months, I increased everybody on my caseload to 200. It took me about 6 months to go through that process. Some people left, some people reduced frequency, some people, stayed where they were. And I had a few openings and I filled those spots, and I found myself with the same problem. I'm getting too many clients at this fee. I'm constantly over full. I'm referring people out all the time. And I'm good. Like I'm good. I'm stable. My money, my finances are stable. I'm stable. My husband left the military reserves. He's working less. We're stable.
Yeah.
Now, back when I did the math for 200, I also did math on my dream fee. The fee that would allow me to make space for a second business, the fee that would allow me to really put money into retirement, to pay out of pocket for certain services for our family, that kind of stuff. And that fee was $350.
Mm.
And so a little over a year ago, I found myself in a position where I had a stable caseload, and I had one spot open on my caseload. And I thought, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I remember this.
Right? You were there. I was like,
it was an experiment. You weren't sure.
Exactly. It was a complete experiment. I'm like, have I done what I need to do to be able to bring people in at that rate? Am I there?
Yeah.
Because I thought that was like a 10-year plan. I'm like, maybe in 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll get
Here
to
we
that.
were.
Right?
And what happened?
So I had a consult. I got a no. 2 weeks later, I had another consult. I got a yes for weekly therapy at $350. Yeah. Yeah. And then I think another week or two after that, I got another yes for every other week. And, you know, we'll talk about the ups and downs. That's definitely been a part of the learning curve. But, you know, I have, for the most part, stayed full, and I've been able to reduce my caseload, obviously, but I've stayed full. And now I think a little over half of my caseload pays that fee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 200 is the base fee that some people are still at. And then 350 is the new fee that new folks come in at.
Yeah. And so I have a policy that when a client reaches their 1-year anniversary with me, that's when we reassess fees. So I have a good chunk of people that are still under that 350 rate. And so if you're not at my full fee, if you've reached a year with me, we reassess fees. And so this year I'm doing it a little differently. The last time I did that, it was everybody go to 200. This year I'm saying, here's where you are. Here's where I am.
Yeah.
Where between there makes sense for you, because I am financially stable.
Yeah.
For some people that's $15, and for some people that's all the way to $350. And I have the privilege to be able to offer that choice to them.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not going to spend a lot of time here, but I think it's remarkable your willingness and your ability to bring money into the therapy room with your clients. Like I can imagine if I sat down with a therapist and had conversations around money, there's a lot to be done there. Like, how has this supported you? How's this journey sort of supported you, like clinically, and the way that you serve your clients?
Oh man, those sessions are actually some of my most transformative. I have had clients, like, it's not about the money. We've talked about the ways that they feel indebted, the ways that they feel bound, the ways that they feel, guilty or shameful about taking care of themselves. And so being able to actually talk about their relationship with money, particularly as it pertains to the therapeutic relationship and my role in their life, being able to bring myself in and the relationship in, has just gone down paths that I don't think we would have found if we didn't bring that in.
Absolutely.
So even my clients at 350, I check in with them like, how do you feel about your money? How do you feel when you look at your bank account? What comes up for you?
Yeah.
Because everybody has a feeling.
They sure do. And I can imagine that's remarkable. Now, this is an incredible journey, no doubt. And I know that there are lots of pockets of inspiration to be found in there. This has not been easy.
Yeah.
There have been some difficult moments. Talk to us about that. We know you're a transparent person. Like, what about this has been hard? Has anything fallen flat or not worked the way you expected to? Like, what's been difficult?
Yeah. And I know you've had a backseat view for some of the stuff. I've definitely like hit you up sometimes and I'm like, oh my God, I'm freaking out.
Yeah. The stress doesn't go away necessarily.
No, it doesn't. I think one of the biggest takeaways for me has been that when your clients pay a higher fee, the up and the down is bigger. The swings are bigger. I had at a pocket of time last December, January, where I had like 2 openings, and it took me 2 months to fill those openings. And like, that's a significant amount of money that I'm not bringing in when I have an opening. That happened just like 2 months ago, a month ago. I just filled the spots 2 weeks ago. I had 2 spots. And so, I think the piece for me there has been, how do I build that in? And this is whether you charge $100 or you charge $500, how do I build in the cushion to be able to weather the ups and the downs? And when the ups and the downs are bigger, we need to take that into account in terms of what kind of cushion do I need to have? but I have found that like, I almost never go more than 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's consistent.
What have you, obviously this group we talk a lot about marketing here. It's kind of what we do. What have you learned about marketing? What has been important in your marketing in bringing in clients at this fee or any premium fee?
Yeah. One is, gosh, niche, having a specialty. And it doesn't actually matter what the specialty is, as long as it's well defined.
Yep.
Right. I don't do anything particularly special, so to speak. Like I am the high achieving, anxious people pleaser, right? That is kind of like a little bit cliche, so to speak.
Yep.
I also have a very specific niche working with law enforcement spouses and couples, and that one brings in some really good traffic because people can find me organically. They actually search specifically for that. And so it's having something that you know that people search for, that you do really, really well, and speaking well to that in your copywriting, in your directories, in your website, that they feel connected to. So that's the first one. The second one, I think, really comes down to this idea of networking. I've kept it simple. So connecting, right? And it's not just the one-on-one connections, but like for me, that's been easy to do being active on Facebook. I've been active in Facebook groups. I'm active in Messenger. I'm connecting with people. I'm chatting with people. I've referred people to therapists that I've never actually met in person. I've just chatted with them in Messenger or on a Facebook thread. But I've had enough interaction with them and I've been really forward that I'm like, oh, I actually know somebody for you. Let's see. There's a couple more. So confidence. So next one that comes to mind is confidence. Like I cannot, no matter what marketing you're doing, if you're doing it confidently, it shines. Like it comes through. So if I'm in a networking meeting with another therapist and they're kind of like, well, I kind of do this and I kind of do that. I'm like, are you kind of going to take care of my client? Or are you going to be like, I do this, I'm great at this. This is my sweet spot. And I'm like, cool, you're going to be great at it. And you're going to take great care of anybody I send you.
Networking contacts can tell that, and your clients can tell it too if you're stating clearly and confidently the work that you do.
Absolutely. I mean, it might sound weird, but like if I'm in a consult call and they're telling me like that they really like they're struggling with like how does their childhood experience and they don't want to get into it. And I'm like, I know this is weird, but I'm actually really excited for that. Because that's like I love doing that kind of work. And so I know it's gonna be hard, but I'm really excited to work with you. And they can feel the confidence and my excitement in like helping them.
Absolutely. There's something to be said for that. Absolutely. Another thing we talk about a lot as part of networking, or I'm sorry, as part of marketing, is this idea of having an ideal client, right? And that client, like you said, you can specialize in really anything. And we talk a lot about that here, but you have really interesting insight into this idea of, yes, you can have an ideal client, and how might you be limiting that ideal client when you set your fees? Talk to me about that. I know you could probably go on forever.
So I had a conversation it's been a couple of years actually now, with a friend of mine who specifically targets the trans community. And she said out loud to me, she said, my community can't afford that fee. And I said to her, what does it say about your beliefs, about your community and their ability to generate income or to be successful, that you believe that about them as a whole? Like, how have you internalized this belief about your community? And she was like, oh shit, what am I doing? And so it's not that everybody in your community or everybody that's your ideal client can afford that fee. It's that some people can. And I think what we miss is that those who can subsidize those who can't. That if I can get $300 client over here, I can do a pro bono client over here. And I could still be financially well.
It's not one at the expense of the other. That sometimes actually creating margin by having a higher fee or whatever that is actually allows you to pour in a different way than if you were just burned out at a lower fee, Only
And you
50.
might, I mean, maybe you don't do pro bono work. Maybe you go do advocacy work. Maybe you
Sure.
donate to a cause that does the advocacy work that you don't have
Yeah.
the time to do because you're a single parent with a chronic illness and
Sure.
right, like
Sure.
maybe that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's that your impact is not confined to the therapy room.
Absolutely.
And impact, I think anyone that has gotten into this space does it because you believe in the work, like at the end of the day. And your ability to, improve accessibility to mental health and see people get better is not confined to just your one-on-one relationship with your clients. That sometimes that can, like you said, subsidize all the other work that's also
Absolutely.
important.
Yep.
Yeah,
100%.
that's a huge one. What about this idea of location? Like if I'm not located in this certain area, like I can't do a high fee, whatever that fee is, not possible, like just discounting automatically. What's your experience there?
Oh yes, this is a fun one. First of all, I actually know personally several therapists in all over the United States who charge well over $250, $300.
Mhm.
But because of this question, this happens a lot. There were some comments that were like, well, you must be in California. This must be in
Mhm.
California. That's the only place I know, maybe New York, right?
Mhm.
So I actually posted in one of the big groups and I was like, if you charge above 250, what state are you located in?
Oh,
And
interesting. Cool.
I know. And I got responses in the last 24 hours. I got responses from at least half of the states in the United States so far. And
Wow.
so my guess is that there's somebody in every state, at
Yeah.
least one, who is doing
Right.
it and doing well and being successful at it.
Right.
In some states more than others, right? Cost of living is different,
Right.
right? It doesn't cost $3,000 a month for twins in childcare in another state. And so
Sure.
my earnings are different. My earning
Right.
needs are different than somebody else's. And so the
Right.
idea of a high fee is going to be different from state to state.
Mhm.
But this idea that it's only possible in certain places is just flat wrong.
Right. Right. And how might you be limiting yourself by telling yourself that, quite frankly,
Exactly.
limiting your own potential? Sure.
Right.
Talk to me about the people that you serve. I know someone asked a specific question and it was a good one about, like, you already mentioned you're a 1 to 3 year therapist, which is interesting, but the type of work you do, how long are you still working with clients for 1 to 3 years, even paying that fee? How we talk about frequency, and I actually see a question here in the comments regarding frequency. Like what's your kind of structure for treating your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So something I have noticed is when you start getting above 200, you do start having more requests for every other week.
Mm.
For me, that's fine. I like
Mhm.
every other week with a small caseload. I like the variety that it offers me. I like the flexibility that it offers me.
Mhm.
And so that is something that I have noticed, that you do
Yeah.
tend to get more requests for every other week's therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do get very slightly more requests for super billing,
Okay.
which I do
Interesting.
offer. And on that note, as a side tangent, one of the things that I've done as a higher fee therapist is that I've partnered with like a super billing company who will
Mm.
help my clients submit their super bills more easily.
Oh, cool.
I pay a small fee and that gives them access to that program. And
Mhm.
I think like for me, that's a nice like service that I can offer as a premium fee therapist
Mhm.
to really facilitate that. So I do get slightly, and by slightly, I mean like maybe 10% more. It's very small.
Okay.
But thinking about my caseload, the majority of my clients still stay with me a year.
Mhm.
I still have the client that came on with me weekly, stayed with me for a year weekly. And just after we passed the year mark, we decided it was time to go down to every other week, which is a pretty
Mhm.
typical transition for my
Sure.
clientele.
Yeah.
And she's still with me and she'll probably be with me for another year.
Yeah.
My longest running client, they started with me at $60 an hour, almost like 5 or 6 years ago.
Wow.
And they're currently assessing for their fee raise and they're expecting to go up to, I think, around 300. And they have told me like, we're in it for life. Like you are our
That like makes me
person.
emotional. That's incredible.
I know. Like they're like,
Yeah.
you've been with us through everything. And we just
Yeah.
believe in this as a maintenance
Right.
activity. And
Yeah.
so we're just here,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
These are, I think one of the things we talk about this a lot in Confident Copy and the clients that we want to attract into private pay. And it's not to say that it's only in the private pay space, but when you have a fee like this, there's a level of buy-in no
Yes,
pun intended, required from your clients a level of motivation, a level of commitment to the process. You found them
absolutely.
5 or 6 years ago, and here they are still valuing and being bought into what therapy provides to them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a big buy-in literally
Right.
that is required at this level of
Yeah.
fee, that
Yeah.
they are invested in therapy um in a way that feels different, that
Right.
is congruent with the kind of client that I seek to attract.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. We talk all the time about how your marketing should attract the types of clients you do your best work with and bless and release those that are not. Your marketing is allowed to do that. It
Yes.
should do that. And when it's done well, like for you, you attract people that are like, okay, yes, it might be a stretch, maybe,
Yeah.
but am I bought in? Am I committed enough? Also, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, to speak to the piece of that, it's like, it's not that people that can't pay that fee aren't bought in, right? I have
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for clarifying that. You're absolutely right.
yeah, it needs to be, people are going to ask, so it needs to be said, but it's, it's not that somebody that needs to use their insurance aren't bought in.
Right.
They're just not my ideal client right
Right.
now at this phase in my life.
Right. Right. And
They
you're
may not,
allowed to decide that.
exactly right. Like I could charge $60 an hour back before I had kids and I was free to do things the way I needed to because I
Sure.
had an agency, job.
Sure.
It's not part of this phase of my life. And
Yeah.
so it's just not a fit
Right.
right now.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Well, I'm seeing some good questions. Let's see. So, let me bring all these up. So, very curious how you work with current clients to raise fees.
No, that's
So you
such a
mentioned
fun
you assess at the year mark. What does fee increase look like for current clients?
So my current phase is they decide. And so the founding principle that I work off of when I do fee raises is fair and equitable.
Mm.
And that you kind of get to decide what that means as long as you can qualify it as fair and equitable.
Mm.
So fair and equitable might mean everybody's up $10. That's fair and equitable.
Mm-hmm.
Fair and equitable might mean that you offer them a scale based on their income and they get to assess where their income is.
Yeah.
In my case, it's something along those lines. For this one, like I mentioned, I'm saying you're currently at 200. My full fee for incoming clients is 350. I
Mm-hmm.
want you to take a week or two whenever we meet next.
Yeah.
And I want you to look at your finances at your current frequency. What fee would be feasible for you right now?
Mm-hmm.
For this round, I've made sure to let them know, like, I don't have an attachment to the number,
Mm.
but if you feel anxious about what I might expect, let's talk about that because I think
Mm.
it's important. I don't want your decision to be based on what you think I'm going to feel.
Sure.
I want it to be based on what you can afford reasonably and what
Yeah.
is feasible for your financial situation.
And I
And so
bet great conversations come out of that too.
exactly.
Yeah.
I did have a client that was like, how am I supposed to choose a number when our work is so valuable? And I'm like, let's talk about that.
Mm.
Let's talk about what that means to you.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
a phenomenal session.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Great question. Another person said, you and I were in another coaching program where you were a graduate success story. Many members of that program didn't get the results you got. That happens. What do you think differentiates you from X program failure or not as successful stories?
Oh, I have racked my brain on this actual question before. I wish I had an answer. I think it's a little bit of work and a little bit of luck, right? I can't deny that there's some luck here, right? I have a long history of marketing. I've had a website up for a very long time, even before my practice was alive. Because I had my practice as an intern, I had a website up. So I had a lot of Google cred. That
Yes.
helps. Longevity helps. I'm also willing to take risks and be really visible. I'm willing to go on TikTok and make videos and see how it goes. I've gotten referrals off of that.
Yeah.
I'm
Just today or
willing
yesterday.
to, right, I actually just made one today. And I got a referral today, but it wasn't for my state. I think I keep coming back to this confidence piece of like, I'm doing the mindset work to feel confident in what I offer and project that confidence in a way that might make some people uncomfortable. Like we're conditioned to be humble. We're conditioned to like, we know how much we don't know. And so we're always feeling like, I don't know enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough. And I'm like, cultural conditioning be damned, man. Like I'm great at this
Mm-hmm.
and I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be shy about that.
Right. Absolutely. And you're starting to teach other folks on how to do that as well.
I am.
Um, Thank you for that. Would you add anything else there? It's fine if not. I just want
No, I think, there's little bits and pieces, right? Sometimes I'll look at somebody's website and I'm sure you've experienced this too, where they're like, I think I'm doing it right. And you look at it and you're like, ooh, you're actually talking about yourself there and you're talking about yourself there again. And
Mm-hmm.
that's actually too clinical. And so I think sometimes we think we're doing it right and we're just kind of missing the mark.
Yeah.
Just enough.
Yeah.
I think there's some of those like logistical things that are probably at play too,
Sure.
that I've been fortunate to be able to get the coaching, to get the guidance, to get right.
Yeah. I rack my brain sometimes too on why some folks get better results than others. And it's hard because you want every single person to get the exact same results all the time. And I think you're just speaking to the fact there's a lot of factors out there. Some of it, anyway, we could go on and on
And
on
it's
that,
not all me. I realize
right.
that some of this is luck. I realize that
Right.
some of this is location. Like I
Right.
realize that.
Right. Sorry if you heard me open this up. I can't see everyone's comments on my computer for some reason, so I pulled it up on my phone.
Okay.
Jill's wondering, so if you start new clients at a higher fee and you haven't raised your rates for current clients, do you not list fees on your website or just list updated fees?
I only list my current fees on my website, but I do list them.
Okay.
I make a commitment and I let people know coming in, like I make a commitment to them that the fee that I bring them in at is the fee that they're going to be at for a year.
Okay, nice.
For me, that feels congruent in terms of like, I'm making this commitment. Most people are with me at least a year. So I'm going to make that commitment for that period of time.
Right. Absolutely. Good. Audrey has an amazing, you want to talk about listing your fees, has an amazing page on her website. I wrote a lot of Audrey's website. I did not write that investment page and it's amazing.
I'm pretty proud.
Audrey LMFT. Sorry, I'm just sending people to your website, audreylmft.com/investment, right?
Yeah.
Where Audrey talks about therapy being an investment and it's compelling. So
thank you.
Definitely. Yeah. Take a look at that.
Okay. I've learned a few things about copywriting from you over the years.
Yeah, I didn't mention this, but Audrey and I worked together on her website. Was that 2020? I think it was.
It was.
Yeah. So over 2 years now, wrote her website for and switch it over to or the new version of Squarespace and that kind of thing. Okay. Samantha had a question. This is the one that I saw come through and I couldn't get on my computer. Curious how you discuss weekly versus bi-weekly with your clients. I tell clients I don't like that decision to be based on budget or finances. And I like everyone to do weekly for the first month until we figure out what's best for them. I worry I'm turning away potential private pay clients with that firm language. Thoughts?
Yeah. So I don't want people to not work with me because of that. And so I think like slightly different angle from what she's talking about. I do let them know in the consultation that it would be ideal if our first 3 sessions were back to back weekly. Mm-hmm. And then we can move to every other week, pending a discussion. Mm-hmm. Usually, like probably 99% of the time, I can tell in the consultations, and I do 20-minute consultations. Sometimes they extend to 30 minutes because I want to get the full story.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm getting the right information.
Right.
But usually I can tell in the consultation that every other week is going to work for their acuity. Mm-hmm. And I also let people know that the first 2 to 3 sessions are still an assessment period to make sure that the structure that we're agreeing to is going to work for them. Mm-hmm. And most clients really appreciate that, like, I'm taking the care to make sure that what I have to offer is right for them. Yeah. And that's really how I frame it. Yeah. And so if they're capable, if they have the financial resources to do 3 sessions in a row and then move to every other week, great. If they can't, what I let them know is that usually when we start every other week, it can feel a little rocky at first. Like it feels a little hard to like get our groove. They feel really far apart for the first few sessions. Yeah. So just to expect that. Yeah. Yeah. But that's kind of how I manage that.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like you said, sort of setting those expectations, but also couching it that doing it back to back is for your benefit, and
Yes.
then kind of building in a little bit of flexibility in your language around it, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. Another one, Shay, I've had thoughts of selling packages of sessions with a slightly discounted per session rate. Curious on your thoughts.
That gets tricky. I would refer to your ethical guidelines for that one. Only because it's like, what happens if they cancel, what happens if they need to reschedule, what happens then, right?
Mhm.
I do know of therapists this is how you might be able to kind of get around it. I know of therapists who have like commitment or consistency policies where they say that you are committing to 4 sessions per month. You are going to pay for 4 sessions per month, whether you show up or not.
Interesting. Okay.
That. You need to use those 4 sessions each month.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can use them however you please, whether you come to them or not. And so that could be an opportunity for quote a discounted package. You would still want to charge per session, I think, for the ethical things.
Yeah.
But I could see how that could potentially work. I'm somebody who tends to be okay with risk taking within guidelines. I tend to push the edges of sort of what the professional boundaries allow and be like, well, is there a way to make that fit? Can we actually do that in quality? Like, so that's my thought process on that.
Yeah. Okay, I mentioned this just in passing, but Audrey is helping people do this. And Audrey, I want to know all about that. There's one thing I want to go back to that you were talking about very early on in your story. You were at a point when you started raising your fees that you were already bringing in some good traffic. Things were kind of working for you. What would you say to the person that isn't necessarily experiencing that yet and doesn't necessarily have a flow in where they're like, well, I guess I just need to raise my rates? Like, what about someone that is more in those startup phases or isn't seeing the results they want right now? What would you say to them?
Couple things. One, I think let's look at the reality of your situation, right? I'm not anti-insurance, but I am against you making choices in your business that aren't congruent with what you need. So if you aren't in a position where you have the flow of clients that you need and you need to make an income, let's look at what those options are. Let's get you a flow of clients so you can have a base income that's going to support your needs so that you can start taking some of these other risks that maybe can garner these bigger results. Get that base income that you need so that you can lean into your marketing so that we can, refine your messaging so that we can get you more visible, so that we can work on the mindset that needs to come with it in order to get the results that you're looking for. And then let's make a transition plan. Yeah.
Where you are today is not where you have to stay. You can make a decision, like you said, small risks, big rewards, but what do we need to do to allow you to start making those risks? And that's different for everyone.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Audrey, tell us about, I mean, I'm inspired in a lot of ways. I have some notes to go take myself, and I know folks are already saying that they're feeling inspired as well. How can we benefit from your awesome brain? I know that you're working on something really exciting, and all about it.
So I have my free group. It's Balanced Practice Community. Definitely come join that group. We talk about all this stuff and constantly like asking thought questions and encouraging conversation, and posting stuff, about my own process and my own, struggles and, talking about it in real time. But I do one-on-one business coaching for therapists who are looking to do some of these things in their own practice to face the reality of their life and how do they create a business that can support that. And I'm in the middle of a launch for Practice by Design, which is my program to help more therapists do that and to access my coaching. So today's actually the last day for the early bird price, y'all. Woo! And I know this is always, I always feel dramatic when I say this, but like I'm literally never going to offer this price again. This is the first time in, first student cohort.
Founding members.
You're coming in on the bottom level and you're going to help shape the content of this program. It is technically it's a 12-week program. We're going to have weekly group coaching, but you get lifetime access. You get lifetime access to the course content. You get lifetime access to the private Facebook group. You'll have access to future rounds of live coaching. And so really it's a lifetime of support. And I was thinking about this the other day, that like the people that I turn to when I'm having a struggle in my business are the people that I've done some of this early work in my business with. And so you get this built-in support system to grow and change and modify and take these risks and ground yourself.
Yeah.
For as long as you're here, right?
Yeah.
I bought lifetime deals for these platforms. So I literally have it for a lifetime.
Right. Like as long as the internet's up, it's up.
As long as the internet's up, it's going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Audrey, who's a good fit for Practice by Design?
Yeah. So, who's a good fit, man? Somebody who is ready to literally smash cultural narratives of therapist stuff. Like we're just in it for the money. You can't be successful without insurance, this, that, and the other. Somebody who wants to really get like a hard look at their reality. You want to dig into your finances. You're willing to look at like what's going to work for me and what's not. That you want to reduce your caseload. You want to increase your fees. You want to give back without sacrificing your financial well-being. You want to spend more time with your family or take care of a chronic illness, but still do this great work. That's what we're going to look at. That's what we're going to do.
Absolutely. It's not called Practice by Design by accident. And it really is designing a practice that fits your unique life, your needs, your goals.
Yep. Absolutely.
Amazing. Where can we learn more about it?
Okay. Yeah. So, Practice by Design, balanceprivatepractice.com/PBD, Practice by Design, PBD. We'll drop it in the comments.
Yes.
That's the landing page. You can message me, reach out. I am not here to sell you on it. Like I'm like, if you want it, great. And if you have questions, great. And if what you need is actually not something I offer, great. I'm going to send you somewhere else.
Right.
Even if it's not me.
Right.
That's what's most important to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I know that there are some folks watching that have been inspired by this. And we will go ahead. I'll tag Audrey and I'll tag her group here in the comments so you can reach directly out to Audrey if this is something that sounds interesting to you. We'll also link PBD for folks to take a look. But Audrey, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for your expertise. Thanks for being generous with it. And for all of these little nuggets of wisdom we've gotten. Folks, thanks for joining us. Like I said, even if you're catching the replay right now and you have additional questions, click on Audrey's name and send her a message or drop the comments in the little, comment box. We're happy to return to this, but I appreciate you, Audrey. And I cannot wait to hear how Practice by Design starts serving other clinicians' lives and practices.
I know. I'm so excited. We already have 4 spots claimed. I'm limiting the spots this round so that I can give you guys individual attention. So get it. Oh, I'm so excited. It's going to be
so amazing. It's going to be so amazing. Don't sleep on this, guys. If this sounds like something that would serve you, I can't think of a better time to jump in and get Audrey's brain and support.
Thank you so much, Hannah.
Bye.